now we want to see what are the common organizational framework and structure. So there are few that actually we wanted to talk about. The first one is simple structure, and then we have bureaucracy. Then we will go into the matrix, and last but not least is the alternate design version. So we start off with the simple structure. Now, simple structure is categorized most by what it is not rather than what it is. Yeah. Now, simple structure is simple. It's not elaborate. It's not extensive. It has a low degree of departmentalization and very wide span of control. Very wide span of control. And the authority centralized in a single person and with little formalization. The simple structure is a flat organization. It is usually has only 2 or 3 vertical levels, and one individual has the decision-making authority. The simple structure is most widely practiced in a small company in which the manager and the owner are one person, the same person. The strength of the simple structure lies in its simplicity. Simple structure is fast, flexible, inexpensive to maintain, and areas of accountability is clear. One major weakness is that it is difficult to maintain in anything other than a small organization. It becomes increasingly inadequate as organization or company grow because of small structure, low formalization, and the high centralization tend to create information overload at the top. As size increase, it is very difficult for the owner manager to make all the choices. If the structure is not changed and made more elaborate, the company often lose momentum. This will lead to eventually failure in business. The simple structure, other weaknesses is that it is risky. Everything depends in one person. Illness can literally destroy the information and decision-making center of the company. So that is on the simple structure. Okay. Then we have the second one, the bureaucracy. Okay, bureaucracy. Now, bureaucracy is also focused on standardization. This is the key concept of bureaucracy, i.e. standardization. Now, bureaucracy is categorized by a highly routine operating task achieved through specialization, very formalized rule and regulation, tasks they are grouped into functional department, it is a centralized authority, narrow span of control, and decision-making that must follow the change of command. Its primary strength is in the ability to perform standardized activity in a highly efficient manner. Putting like specialties together in functional department result in economy of skills, minimum duplication of personnel and equipment. Bureaucracy get by nicely into less talented and less costly middle and lower level managers. Bureaucracy have its own weaknesses. Specialization that creates in bureaucracy normally also create conflicts. Functional unit goals can override the organizational goal, the company goal. It can also create to obsessive concern with following the rules. The bureaucracy system is efficient only as long as employees or team members confront familiar problem with a program decision making. They know what to do next. It's a process. Then the third one, we have the functional structure. Now, the functional structure group employees by their similar specialty areas or professional areas. A company that is organized into production, marketing, human resource, accounting department is one example of a functional structure. Many large organizations utilize this structure. Although this is evolving to allow for quick changes in response to business opportunities. Still, there are advantages, including that functional structure allows specialists to become expert more easily if they work in a diversified unit. Employees can also be motivated by a clear career path to the top of the organization chart specific to their specialty area. The functional structure works well if and only if the organization is focused on one product or services. Unfortunately, functional structure creates rigid formal communication because the hierarchy dictates the communication protocol. Coordination among many units is a problem, and infighting in unit and between unit can lead to reduced motivation. So that is on the functional structure. Then we have the divisional structure. Okay. We have the divisional structure. Now, what is actually the divisional structure? What is divisional structure? The divisional structure group employees unit by product, service, a customer, or geographical areas. Or by geographical areas. Now, sometimes this structure is known to be the type of divisional structure when it uses a product or services that is lumped together. For example, animal food, maybe agriculture group, or even customer or actually segmentation by the customer, inpatient, outpatient, pharmacist, or whatnot. Now, the divisional structure has the opposite benefit and disadvantages of the functional structure. It facilitates coordination in unit to achieve their goals while addressing specific concerns of each unit. It provides clear responsibilities for all activities related to a product, but with duplication of function and cost. Furthermore, it appears as if organization can shift from a divisional to a functional structure and vice versa. However, those who shift from a functional to divisional structure tend to perform the best. I mean to say, from functional to structure to divisional is the best transformation. Now, that is part of the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. You have the functional structure, then you have the divisional structure because it actually created by function. That is the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Then you have the matrix structure. Now, the matrix structure is used in advertising agencies, for example, aerospace firm, R&D laboratories, IT companies, construction, hospital, consulting, and entertainment companies. It combined two forms of departmentalization, functional and product. The strength of functional departmentalization, putting like specialists together, and the pooling and sharing of specialist resources across the product. It major disadvantages is, however, is on the difficulty of coordinating the task. Okay. Now, when we talk about responsibility, matrix structure provide clear responsibility for all activities that is related to a product. but with duplication of activities and costs. The most obvious structural characteristic of matrix structure is that it breaks the unity of command concept. The strength is in the ability to facilitate coordination when the organization has multiplicity of complex interdependent activities. The dual line of authority tend to reduce tendency of departmental members to protect their worlds, okay, to protect their job. It facilitates the efficient allocation of specialists. The major disadvantages of a matrix lie in the confusion it creates, its propensity to foster power struggle, and the stress it places on individuals. Violation of unity of command concept increases ambiguity that often lead to conflict. Confusion and ambiguity also create seat of power struggle. Reporting to more than one boss or one manager would eventually introduce role conflict and unclear expectation that actually will result in role ambiguity. The next one after the matrix is the alternate design option. Okay? We are still at organizational structure, the alternate design option. Okay? Now, the virtual organization, what are the virtual organization? The essence of virtual organization is that it's typically a small core organization that outsources many business functions. Okay? It is also referred to as a modular or network organization. It is highly centralized with little or no departmentalization. The prototype of virtual structure is today movie making organization, like in movie making lah, or buat film, virtual. In the example, during the Hollywood golden era, movies were made by huge vertically integrated corporation. However, today movies are made by a collection of individual and small companies who work together and make film project by projects. This structural form allows each project to be staffed with the most talented people, rather than having to choose just from those people in the studio that they employ. Virtual organization normally outsource all the primary function of the business. Okay? Manager in virtual structure spend most of their time coordinating and controlling external relations. Network organizations often take many forms. Some of the more traditional forms include the franchise form, in which they are managers, system, and other experts in the central nodes are in the executive team, whereas customer, sales, and service are carried out by a franchise unit. This popular form of network organization is common in service business model such as 7-Eleven, McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, J-Co. In this form, franchisees do not tend to collaborate or coordinate with one another, which may actually be in direct competition for resources from the executive group. Another example is concept of starburst, which the parent company split off one of its function into a spin-off firm. For example, Netflix split off its DVD function from into its own separate entity. Now it's called DVD.com. Now, the major advantage to the virtual organization is flexibility. Virtual organization drawbacks have become increasingly clear as their popularity has grown. They are in the state of perpetual flux and reorganization, which means that roles, goals, and responsibility are becoming unclear, setting the stage for conflict and political behavior. So that is, I think, the three structure that I wanted to discuss. Yeah, you have the alternate design, you have the bureaucracy, and you have the simple structure. So I stop for the time being. We will actually continue later on with the other lecture.